Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a question. Is BioWare finally done? Is it over? And the answer to that question is yes, but it could be saved. I could save BioWare. I could. And I'm not just blowing smoke up my ass. I could. And so I wanted to do a reaction to a video from Endymion. But first, I want to explain how I would go about saving BioWare. Say EA gave me a call and they said, look, we bought BioWare for a bunch of money. We thought we would be able to use their IPs to churn out a bunch of just easy money, sell a bunch of merch. At the time, they were king of the hill, but now they've gone downhill. We are really having a tough time generating any interest in anything that BioWare does. The failure of Dragon Age Inquisition, the failure of Anthem, the failure of Dragon Age Inquisition, and from the rumors that I'm hearing, unfortunately, the failure of Mass Effect 5. I have not heard good things thus far about Mass Effect 5. But we'll wait and see on that one. I would argue that Dragon Age 2 wasn't particularly good, personally, and Mass Effect 3 was not good. I would say that one was by far the worst in the series. So it has been a steady downhill from there to the point where they are careening over a cliff. So EA comes to me and says, save us. Save our company. Do whatever you have to do. Do what must be done. I'd say, okay. Okay. I would go into BioWare HQ. I would gather everyone around and I'd say, okay. All of you have a choice. I'm here because you all have failed. What you've done up to this point has not worked. So we are going with a different vision. And the vision is this. If you put anyone LGBTQ or transgender or non-binary in the game, you must give the player the option to do with them whatever they want. So if you're running a Paragon version of the game, you're going to treat that person with respect. The positive option is to respect their pronouns. You respect them as a person, all that stuff. You can do that. You can do that. You can. However, under my regime, if you do put LGBTQ and non-binary people in the game, you must give the player the option to not only refuse to call them they, them, but to call them whatever gender they want, and ultimately to kill them if they so choose. You give them the ability to kill their companion like you've done in other games. In other games, I don't know if you remember this, but in Dragon Age Origins, you can betray Alistair. You can betray him at there's this big ceremony. I don't remember what the guy's name is. But there's the bad guy that you're chasing throughout the whole game. And then at a certain point, you can betray Alistair. And that takes him from your party and replaces him with this guy. You can do that. Hell, if you misgender the character too much, the character leaves. They just leave the party, they're gone. You don't have to deal with them anymore. Done. Or if you're evil, maybe there's a scene where you have to sacrifice a teammate, you have to use their soul to imbue some kind of weapon or crystal, and so you can take the non-binary person, suck out their soul and put it into a weapon that boosts your stats. Or you can just outright kick them off a cliff like Mass Effect 2. I'm saying that you have to give players the choice. And it's true that a lot of clips will be of people killing and disrespecting the character, but that is okay. That is choice. You are respecting the player's choice. If you want to do that. The other option is you don't put any of that shit in the game at all. That would be the modus operandi of BioWare going forward. But in order to rebuild the reputation, what I would do is I would have us come out with remasters of Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect, Jade Empire, and Knights of the Old Republic, and they would be graphical upgrades to the current gen, and the combat would be reflective of that. If we needed to bring in new dialogue, we could do that as well. These games would be beautiful. They would be preserved, but they would not be modernized. Modernized as in, we're going to add in gendered language, or we're going to change things from the original. They would be pristine in what they were, but they would be more. I would also see if we couldn't add in some additional levels, spruce things up a little bit. Maybe add in some new planets, worlds from Star Wars The Old Republic. Go about adding more richness to the worlds, but not through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion, just purely through the lens of Star Wars. Then we have Dragon Age Origins that's remastered with cutting-edge graphics. We have Jade Empire with brand new graphics. And guess what? That's 4 games that you could release with minimal effort, minimal money, that would get people in love with you again. That would get people talking about you again. That would put you on the map. Now, I think that would be a good start. And that would give you time to reorganize things. That would give you time to restructure things. That would give you a couple years where you have people playing BioWare games and talking positively about BioWare. It'll give you some time to clean up your stuff. And then you could announce another Dragon Age game, which apparently, you could reboot the series after Origins, and you could come up with a completely new game. They've done it before. Reboot Dragon Age. A new Dragon Age 2. Or just call it Dragon Age. You have Dragon Age Origins, but you don't have Dragon Age 1. Just call it Dragon Age. They did it with God of War. So that's what I would do. Man, it's tough. It's tough because there's so many different things you can do, and yet they choose to do none of them.
Live action show happening for sure this time, and how these groups are demanding that we accept their ideologies despite how resoundingly they're being rejected at every turn. Also, the Mass Effect board game has bent the knee to pressure, and sales number updates have come in from some sources and much more. So let's all let our nuts hang and get into it, fellas. Firstly, Veilguard is not doing hot at all. In fact, it seems as more time goes by that the game is having a shorter shelf life than your
Damn. 36?
Average yogurt at the grocery store. There's already proof showing that Veilguard's trade-in value at places like GameStop is already cratering. The game only holds around a $25 trade-in value about a week since launch, which is horrific to say the least for BioWare especially. People waited 10 years and they got a game that doesn't even give the fandom what they wanted with Solus and the whole Dreadwolf thing. Instead, the game is just you running around through magical mirrors, solving problems in various parts of Northern Thetis, in what can only be described as a retrofitted multiplayer map mode made into a single-player game. Because if you didn't know already, Veilguard was originally a live service multiplayer game, and trust me, it shows. The way that items sparkle when you pick them up, and the brain-dead easy UI when it comes to upgrades. The plentiful of cosmetics that were definitely meant to be paid microtransactions at one point, yeah, it's all there. And now the game is worth less than half of what it cost already when you trade it in, which is not good at all for BioWare. There's other reports from other people like Natalia here, who, if you remember, she got a code for the game early by lying to a BioWare PR person by telling them that she was non-binary, which, that is real by the way, that actually happened. She's now saying that around 30% of Xbox sales for Veilguard have been refunded. I can confirm that, but I did want to bring attention to it nevertheless. But I am solid on other information that Veilguard has failed to even reach 500,000 sales in 1 week since release, which is incredibly awful when other much more niche titles are able to secure over 1 million in sales in just 24 hours, like Metaphor or even Persona 3 Reload. It's just not looking good for this game or BioWare in general, and the more that I play it, I'm currently on chapter 11, the game is just so mismanaged with its story and pacing, man. Apparently, once I reach the end of chapter 11, I hit a point of no return, and then chapters 12 to 14 are this one giant long sequence that I'm told is the best part of the game because everything finally comes together. And I don't want to say that that's true yet because I'm not there yet, but I hope so. Because what I've played so far is so lopsided, man, it's genuinely frustrating. I managed to beat Harding and Lucanus' questlines, and I will say credit where it's due that Harding's quest was actually good. She is easily one of the most interesting characters in the game, which is not surprising considering that she was originally from Dragon Age Inquisition. So of course one of the best characters isn't even a new one, but the lore implications of her questline, they were actually great. I do enjoy Harding as a character, even though at times she does get cringy with her dialogue, but that's more current BioWare's fault than Inquisition's.
Right.
Like at one point, Harding is planning a 2-day camping trip for other members of the Veilguard to go on, and it just makes zero sense. Like there's literal elven gods out here turning things into a new blight. People are dying all over and the world is on fire. Yet you apparently have the time to go camping. It's this very weird dichotomy where the tone of this game is just all over the place almost all of the time. It should be serious, but 80% of the time you're playing this game, these characters act like everything is a whimsical joke. And I'm starting to reach my breaking point, to be real with you. And at this point, the combat is more just a chore that I have to get through. Amazing to begin with. It actually feels like, to me anyway, that BioWare wanted Taash to be the breakout companion in this game. To be the Garrus Vicarian, or Morrigan if you will, but in Veilguard's terms. But all Taash ends up being is annoying, stupid, and pointless from the moment you meet her to now. Her entire story of wanting to be non-binary is complete utter nonsense. Again, the world is literally on fire. Tell me again why we should care about you wrestling with your pronouns right now. You're an adult. Start acting like one, for God's sakes.
Gross.
Of course, some places like the MarySue.com are openly sucking off Taash's toes with their articles titled, "This Dragon Age the Veilguard companion story ruined me in the best way." Oh god, here we go. The writer of this piece, Samantha Puck, I guess that's how you say it, whatever, spends the entire article just saying how amazing Taash is and how them being non-binary is going to break the barriers and break the ceiling. And
no, it's not. No. No, the only thing that it's going to do is alienate people and drag down the rest of the game. Do you understand? Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to play a game where you are obviously pushing this freak as the default good option that you cannot question. You can't do anything with, which is why you should be able to kick this thing down a hole. Or suck out their soul and put it into a weapon to enhance your gear, or to affirm their pronouns. I think that should totally be a choice. I'm not saying that you have to put this thing into the game and then be mean to it. You get the choice as the player. You should have a renegade option and a paragon option. You should be able to be an evil bastard or somebody that is good. You should be able to be a white hat or a black hat, to put it in cowboy terminology.
At one point, Samantha says, "There's no room for interpretation with Taash's storyline. They state that they are non-binary and that they use they-them pronouns. Rook can't reject their help or boot them from the party the way the Inquisitor could do with some companions in Inquisition. Taash's identity and involvement in the story in Veilguard isn't optional, much like the existence of trans and non-binary people."
God, these freaks, these disgusting freaks, they want you to have less options, even if it costs this game money, even if it ruins the reputation of the game, even if it hurts the cause. They don't care. They don't give two shits. These people do more damage to trans and non-binary people than my channel could ever do if I uploaded 10 videos a day for the next 1,000 years. These people are a plague, a blight, a menace. You should do the opposite of anything that they ever suggest if you want to be successful.
In real life. Yeah, and that's exactly why I keep saying that Veilguard is not a true role-playing game, because your decisions, when it comes to these party members, truly, and I mean it, do not matter whatsoever. You could actually boot quite a few of your party members if you wanted to in other Dragon Age games, because it should be up to the player, not the dev, to decide how they want to play the game. Yet here with Veilguard, you can't reject any of these party members. They have to exist and stay there. And sometimes their storylines even become main questline objectives that you need to do in order to proceed through the game. Saying that Taash can't be rejected or Rook has no say in their identity is exactly one of the core problems with Veilguard. You have zero control over this world or these characters in any meaningful way outside of which city I guess you save in Chapter 6, and that's about it. I also know that there's one choice coming up where you can actually get a companion killed, but it's only from 2 available companions that can die. And spoiler alert, Taash is of course not available to die at any point in this game.
Damn.
It's very clear that BioWare ensured that this character would survive this story no matter what you do, because they want Taash to show up in future games or novels, I guess. They genuinely truly believe that Taash is their new Garrus or Liara or Morrigan, but instead,
Gross.
she's one of the worst characters in the game. And audiences have clearly denied Veilguard the affirmation it and their writers so desperately crave from this. Of course, as the Mary Sue points out, Taash was written by Trick Weeks, which I guess is the non-binary codename that Patrick Weeks uses because, I don't know, Patrick is too masculine? So naturally, Trick is a more non-binary way of saying their name, I guess, and yeah, we can all tell that someone non-binary wrote Taash. Because just to be blunt with you guys, Taash is annoying, is condescending to everybody around them. And they want to be the center of attention for no other reason than because they believe being non-binary somehow makes them special. And I hope Taash was worth it to Patrick Weeks or Trick Weeks, whatever their name is, because the character has clearly cost them millions of dollars in sales. True. And cratered the Dragon Age IP for the future again. A true role-playing game would have allowed the player to decide how to shape their world. I would be fine with Taash wanting to be non-binary if there was the option to not make her non-binary. The same way I think the choice to keep or kick out a companion, or let someone die or save them, that should all be available too. And normally,
right.
I would be hyped, but I just can't find the strength to do that anymore. Y'all ruined Dragon Age. Why should I feel any notion of hope that you won't find a way to screw this up too? I can already tell you what they're going to do here. Let me guess. Let me just become Nostradamus for a second, if you will.
Ooh, I'm curious to see I'm curious to see what his analysis is going to be.
Let me ponder my orb. Let me guess. So let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so Commander Shepard is going to be a woman. I think we can all agree on that. Likely a woman of color. They'll probably unironically hire the black lady from The Walking Dead that starred in Star Trek Discovery as Shepard. I would not be surprised. Even though, canonically, Commander Shepard, both male and female versions, are white people, they're on the covers of the games, don't argue with me, argue with BioWare. And then they'll also make Shepard diverse, then they'll make Shepard lesbian or non-binary as well, because every single important heroic figure in media now has to not be straight, because being straight is bad and wrong think now. Then they'll make Udina a pivotal main villain because he's a white guy, and the show will just be Rings of Power Mass Effect Edition. To be honest with you, I doubt they can even pull this off, mostly because Mass Effect would be just too expensive to make in live action. I mean, Garrison Rex alone would cost an insane amount of money to CGI in a show like this. Could it happen? Sure, I guess. But do I think they'll do it justice? Of course not. I have no reason to believe that neither Amazon or BioWare are interested in giving players what they want anymore. It's why I think the new era of games and media in general is just going to be remakes and remasters. And not because it's easy money, which it is by the way, but the real reason is because activists want to go back and take things that you love and then fix them in their own image to make them into how they want these stories to be perceived. The fact that stuff like Dead Rising 1's remaster went ahead and removed things like the erotic point system from the game, and then they even turned a villain from Asian to a white guy because of the modern audience, that's just one example, but it keeps happening. And remember, there's that rumor that the God of War games are getting remastered for modern platforms will be announced next year. That's a rumor, by the way. But anyway, how much you want to bet that the sex minigame in those games will be gone? I would be genuinely surprised if they are still left in those games. Even the Witcher 1 remake already confirmed that they're removing the woman trading card minigame system because the game is being made for a modern audience.
Disgusting. And such a massive L. When you start tinkering with stuff like this, you highlight it, and then you make it a bigger issue because why the hell are you taking it out? Why are you taking out something from the original game? You do more damage to your so-called cause than you could possibly imagine.
Audience. And now apparently from that Park Place, they're also saying that the Batman Arkham Asylum games are being remade too, like the first one by Rocksteady. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's absolutely atrocious. It is absolutely atrocious the way that this is allowed to go on. There is not 1 ounce of passion or dedication or drive to make this company work. How do you mess this up so badly? Nobody wants a non-binary or lesbian Commander Shepard. Nobody. The majority of people want a normal experience, not a bunch of freaks trying to lecture them about their hideous and insane and depraved and degenerate ideology and way of viewing the world. Nobody wants it. They want an authentic experience that's good. And by good, I mean heterosexual, normal. They don't want identity politics. They don't want any of that. They don't want non-binary characters, but if there are non-binary characters, give them a goddamn choice to kick them out of the group. You should have the choice when you meet a non-binary character, and Taash goes, I don't identify as she, I'm a they. You should have the choice to say, oh, okay, I'm going to refer to you as they, them now. The other option is, get out of here, you freak. I don't need you. Disgusting. Get out. You should kick them out of the party the moment that they say something, and you should have the opportunity to kick them out at any point should you choose. But if you're the good guy, quote unquote, you can keep them around and affirm them. I would even mind that. It's propaganda. The good guy affirms the pronouns and the bad guy doesn't. I would even take it. I'd tolerate it. I'd be like, that's fine. That's fine. That's what you want to do. That's how you want to play it. Fine, sure. No problem. But no, you can't even do that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this game continues to be a thorn in the side for BioWare. They don't have the will to pull out. And so, unfortunately, EA is eventually going to pull the plug. And we just have to wait. And when they go out of business, I will be here to talk about it. And to just point out the fact that you could have avoided this all the time if you fired the disgusting, degenerate left-wing freaks at your company that are weighing you down. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.